Hello everyone, my name is Okechukwu Joshua Otazi and I'm on Pro Learn It. You're welcome to L2D, Learning to Design. And today I'm going to be teaching you about the various interfaces that are available on Photoshop and then how to create a new document on Photoshop. Without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Alright, so in this first section, friends, in this section where you see the files, the edit, the image, the layer, the type, select, filter, 3D, view, windows, and help. We call them the menus tab. Right, in this section you have lots of editing you can do with all of these tabs. I'm not going to click on any of these tabs and show you anything right now because I don't want to get this so complicated. All right, but this section, just know that we have what's called the menu tab in Photoshop, and so we can click on this section, for example, and create new document, open a new an existing document, and do some other changes. All right, so in this other section where we call them the toolbar. All right, this section is the place where we have the tools that are available in Photoshop. Everything you're going to be doing in Photoshop, you're going to have to make reference to the toolbar. All right, so these tools are basically where our tutorials is going to lie the most. All right, so if you look over here, you can see a little triangular sign, a little triangular sign right at the bottom right of this section. All right, so if I hold my if I left click and hold it, you can see all the tools that are available inside this section. All right, if I click and hold it here, you can see that is if I left click and hold it, you can see we have all the lasso tools. We don't just have one lasso tool, right? But this is the lasso tool that is selected for now, right? But we have the polygonal lasso tool. I can change it to polygonal lasso tool. I can change it to magnetic tool. All right, so in this section also, if I come over here, quick selection tool, we call this the selection tool. All right, so this place we have this already selected. You can see a little box here, a squared box on this section showing you that this is selected. If I click on the magic one tool, you can see I've changed the tool. All right, so these are basically all the tools that we have in Photoshop. All right, but basically I'm not going to go into the tools for today. I just want to show you the various interfaces that are available in Photoshop. All right, so if I click on the tool, you can see several options come out on this section showing me the various things I can do with it. So I can reduce the tolerance. All right, so these are the various options that are available for each tool. There are options. All right, so I can edit a tool before using it. All right, so if I click on, for example, a pen tool, to watch what happens here, these sections change. This whole section, this bar changes. All right, telling me you can edit the pen tool before using it. All right, if I click on maybe this tool here, you can see it changes, showing me tolerance. I can reduce the tolerance and use it. All right, so these are some of the things I'm going to be teaching you subsequently in other videos. All right, this section also is what you must know. All right, this section I call the FX section. I call it the FX section because in this section I can make changes to my existing artboard or my existing documents. Right now we don't have any document on our Photoshop here. We don't have anything here. All right, that's why this section I can't click on it and see anything. All right, but basically in this section we can edit the document that we have in Photoshop. All right, this other section is called the blending mode. In the blending mode, basically for example, right now it's set to normal by default, where you can change the blending mode and it will affect your artboard work. All right, so basically in Photoshop we work with layers and basically that's why this section is over here. I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know about working with layers and working with Photoshop. But basically, friends, what I want you to take out of this video is that we have 4 major interfaces that you must understand if you want to use Photoshop effectively. The first is the menu bar, or this section over here. Learn that we have this section, we know how to use them, the window section, the views, and then all of these other things. All right, so the next is the toolbar where we can use the tools to make adjustment to our existing documents. And then we have the FX sections where we can create new layer masks, delete a layer mask, put colors to our text, put colors to our work. These are all done in this section. All right, so then the blending mode option, which is set to normal. The opacity means the brightness of your work. All right, this opacity means the brightness of your work. You can reduce it, you can increase it, you can make it transparent, you can make it not to be transparent, and the likes. All right, so basically when we have a document that we are working with, this whole thing is going to make sense as we go on. But basically these other sections here, I can collapse this other section. They are not as important. All right, these other sections we are gotten because I checked it in the window section. You can see I checked this section and I checked color, and that's why you are seeing all this whole thing over here. All right, so that I deliberately brought it up from the window section. So with this window section, you can change this whole interface. All right, with this whole window section, you can, for example, if I click on character, as you can see, this character section pops up. All right, friends. So that's basically how we work the various interface that we have. All right, but let me delve quickly and teach you how to create a new document in Photoshop, which is very much important. You must know how to create a new document in Photoshop. All right, so that's the next thing we're going to be doing right now. So how do you create a new document in Photoshop? The first thing you're going to do is go to File, this File section, click on File, come over here, click on New, or for those of you who love to use keyboard, you can just click on Ctrl N and it will create a new document for you in Photoshop. So I'm going to click on New, and now that I've clicked on New, it's asking me for the name of the document. What name do I want to give the document? Let me call it Lecture 1. I'm going to just call this Lecture 1. All right, so let me call it lecture 1. All right, now you can see this other section, the presets. All right, you can see a little line closing this whole section. This whole section are joined together. All right, so telling you that this whole thing exists together. You have to edit, you have to choose your presets and then change some sizes and height and the likes. All right, so in the preset section, the custom here, if I click on this custom, you can see I have several other options. All right, so the custom here means, do you have a size you're working with? Do you have a size of the document? Maybe a client may come and say, I want you to work with 2000 by 2000 pixels. I want you to work, usually basically we have inches. If you come over to this section, you can see we have several options for the width. All right, we have inches, the width in inches, in centimeters, in millimeters, and the likes, in pickers and the likes. All right, so basically I think 12 inches equals 1 feet. All right, friends, so that's basically what you should understand. All right, so maybe I want to work with inches. I'll just click on inches, and this 2000 as in pixel will convert to inches. All right, so we have, meaning 2000 pixels equals 6.667 inches. All right, so I'm going to go back to pixels. All right, so friends, the pixel section, you can change this depending on how you measured the artwork you're going to work with. But let me warn you before I continue, you must have the size that you're working with. You must set this size before you start doing any design. Don't just work with any size. If you work with any size, then you're going to your work is just going to be barberdash. It's just going to be rubbish, right? When you go to print, because sometimes you can work with you can do a work in landscape, and then the client is saying, I want it in portrait form, I don't want it in landscape. So you must know the size, the exact size, before you start doing any design in Photoshop. If you don't know the size, don't start any design. Right, so basically you want to set the size. Let's assume I'm working with pixels, and the client is saying it is 2000 pixels I want you to work with. So I'm just going to set this as 2000. All right, so you can see we have the width as 2000 and the height as 2000. All right, so the next thing you want to do is change this to RGB. Make sure it is RGB. Don't put it as grayscale. Grayscale means I want my work to be black and white, and that's not what you want. All right, you want your work to be colored, to be colorful. You want to apply lots of colors. If you put it in grayscale, you can't apply any color. All right, so I want to put it at RGB. Some people like to put it as CMYK, but I work with RGB. All right, so I just click on RGB and I put the color mode. And then the next thing you want to do is put this at maybe 32 or 16 bits, whatever works for you. I like to leave mine at 16 bits. Just for this example, I'm going to work with 16 bits right now. All right, so the next thing is the background color white. All right, so please set the background color. The background color, I can choose another different color. If I click on this, all right, I can click on OK, and then I'll choose another separate color. But right now I'm going to leave it at white color. So the document I'm going to, if I click on OK right now, I'm going to have a white artboard with a width of 2000 pixel and a height of 2000 pixel. Let's do that, please. All right, so it's going to take a little time, and now you can see my artboard. This is whatever design I'm doing. This is where it's going to show up when I save my documents. This white section is what gets saved. All right, friends. So every section outside here is redundant. Every section outside here is unimportant. Let me just show you something. Don't bother about what I'm doing right now. But let's assume I just write a text over here. All right, friends. If I drag this text to this section, you can see this text is gone. It's hiding. It's going away. If I drag it over here, the text is hidden. If I save this file, I will not get to see any text. What I will see is a white artboard. All right, friends, what I will see is a white artboard. All right, so if I drag this text and save this section like this, all right, if I just save this, what I will see when I save this document is going to be C, V, G, H, V, and the likes. All right, but I'm not going to see these other sections that are outside this white artboard. So this white artboard is what gets saved when you save your document. All right, friends, so that's basically how we create new documents in Photoshop. All right, so basically I just wanted to show you the various interface and how to create a new document in Photoshop. All right, so something I want to show you just to add to this. All right, the next thing I want to show you is, if you look over here, this background here is black. What if the document I'm working with is black? Let's assume this document now I'm working with, you see it's going to disappear. All right, so the document I'm working with, the document exists, but it's the same color with the background outside, with the redundant layers outside the document. All right, so the document is there. All right, but basically the background is also black and the document is black, so I can't see what I'm working on. All right, friends, so how do I get to make my document visible? I just come outside the area. Right, I right click and I change this. Instead of black, where you're seeing black, I put grayscale. Now you find out that the regions outside the document I'm working on become grayscale. If I right click again outside those regions and I click on light gray, it becomes light gray. Now I can see my document I'm working with. Right, so that's where this becomes handy. If I put this to black, I can't see my document. If I come over here and put this to light gray, so if you're working on a document that is white, you want to put this to black, the regions outside it, so that you can see your documents. For example, something like this. Now you can see, I can see my documents clearly. I can know what I'm working on. What if you're working on this and it's black, the document you're working on is black color, then you want to change this to light gray. All right, friends, so basically that's how we create new document. Just to end this section, all right, so frequently, basically, friends, you're going to be working with maybe A4 size papers. All right, so how do you find A4 size paper? All right, so there's, by default, if you go to this section where we say file and creating new documents, new. All right, now this is a custom size. The reason why it is custom is saying you can put your size you're working with. You are the one that will customize the size, so you can fix the size you're working with. But inbuilt inside Photoshop, there are some sizes that are already there already for you to work with, so you don't need to find it. For example, if I want to look for the size of an A4 paper, I don't need to go and start browsing what is the size of an A4 paper in inches or in pixels. No, I just come over here, I click on this section where it says custom, I just click and it drops down. Now international paper is called A4 paper in Photoshop. If I click on international paper, now you can see we have A4 paper. Now the international paper here can have A3, it can have A5, just to let you know. All right, so but by default you will see A4 pops up. All right, on mine, I don't know about yours, but if you come over here and click here, you can have A3. All right, you can have A4, you can have A6 and the rest. All right, so basically, friends, that's how we can get new. So most of you are going to be working with A4 paper. All right, so maybe somebody wants a design, maybe a certificate. Basically, our certificates are usually A4 paper size. Usually designers will tell you to leave it at A4 paper size. So I'm just going to click on A4 paper size. All right, I can pick A3, I can pick whatever, but A4 is okay. You already know what A4 paper sizes are. All right, so I just click on A4 and then I click on OK. All right, by default, this document over here is an A4 paper. Whatever I'm doing, the size is A4 paper. If I go to print, it is an exact A4 paper. All right, friends, with that, having learned how to create a new document, I think we are going to end with that for now. In the next video, I'm going to be teaching you how to save your various documents that you've created in Photoshop. Thank you so much.